Welcome back to Discussion Combustion. This is episode 64. We're excited to be in the building. Kevin, as always, good energy in here. We have Chris in the building as well. We're excited to sit down and talk with him. And recently came back from the mountains. It feels good to get out of the city. And you know, a great way to get out of the city, that's Wild Outdoor Adventures.
That's right. That's WOAMEET.com. Sign up for free. Head on over there. It's an online outdoor activity community offering all kinds of great programs. Hope for teens, hope for veterans, hope for singles. Kevin's getting ready to launch a great program going into 2021 that's going to allow a lot of small businesses and big businesses for a flat rate, advertise with them, rotating banners, things like that.
Awesome.
WA is always innovating, really a great company. And take advantage of the warm weather while you can, guys. It's free to sign up, doesn't cost you anything but your time. Everyone's been quarantined, they're stuck behind their computer screens. You know, get outdoors, connect with others.
You got to get out there.
You got to get out there.
And a lot of the events out there, you could do at no charge, unless if there are equipment rentals or extra fees of that nature. So a lot of it, you know, you could check it out at no charge. You can go do it at no charge, and also go be with people that are experienced with this, and maybe, you know, make some new friendships. You know, it's about who you spend your time with. And like you said, the owner Kevin over there, he does a lot of great things with the website as far as like the Hope for Teens, things that you mentioned. But there's also blogs. So if you have a question about anything, you can go on there, and it's a super easy to use website.
Yeah, very user friendly, guys. So it doesn't cost you anything but your time. WOAMEET.com. That's less dreaming and more exploring. Today's episode is also brought to you by Mountain Made CBD. Head on over to mountainmade.life and stock up on all your crystal clear CBD products.
Absolutely. And they can absolutely make it a lot easier for you right now as well with their new it's the membership. It's the
subscription
the
service.
Subscription, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, subscription service. So you set up your purchase, you do an auto pay. You don't even have to think about it. It'll automatically ship, automatically pay monthly, and that way you know, we all have so much going on. Sometimes it's hard to remember to always go on and get everything you need, and then you're down to your last build or your last boost, and you're like, I got to re-up. So this will definitely help alleviate some of the extra clicking.
Yeah, it's just like Netflix. You know, it's out of sight, out of mind. It comes out of you. You know, you got your subscription. It keeps running. You're also getting discounted prices by using the subscription service. So, you know, normally you're going to pay a little bit more elevated price, or at least the cost. If you get their subscription service, get the whole bundle rolling, comes to your door monthly. Don't even have to worry about it. That's the build, the boost, the recover, and the puff.
Yep.
Great products.
All products. And, man, they're just, Mountain Made is good stuff, man. I mean, I've done CBD products. I buy CBD stuff for my girlfriend. We get some of the gummies from dispensaries here and there, and nowhere are you going to find the dosage of CBD that you'll find in the build, for example. That's 50 milligrams, and it's you know, you just take it like a tablet, and all the other CBD companies out there, they're not doing things that Mountain Made is doing, and so that's one of the reasons why we really like how Mike does it, and some of the philosophies he has for why he does it that way. Solid company, Mountain Made Mob. If you're out there working out hard, you could become part of them, brand ambassador. And also, if you're a dispensary out there and you're looking for a great CBD product to be on your shelf, these guys are set up with all the regulations.
That's right. They ship nationwide. It's pretty easy, guys. Just hit them up. Mike's always available. He's ready to rip, get his product all over this country. Like I said, I love the recover. I take it every night. Helps me get a little bit of rest. Sober October is coming, so you're going to want to get your CBD to get you through that. You know, people always say to me, I don't feel anything when I take CBD. And what I tell them is, it's not necessarily about what you feel, it's what you don't feel. To alleviate anxiety, helping with, you know, sleep issues, things of that nature. Great addition to the day. And that's hashtag Go Like Hell, Mountain Made CBD.
Gotta love it. So, Chris, welcome in.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time guest.
This is true.
Good to have you on, man.
Where have I heard that before? Long-time listener, first time? Okay.
You know?
Yeah, and maybe I've listened to a talk show or two about, I think, sports.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you are kind of a sports guy, huh?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you supporting
local
us.
sports, right?
Especially.
Yeah,
Colorado
okay,
sports. Good. You've been a native here.
Yeah, I grew up in Colorado. My dad grew up in Greeley. I was actually born in California, but we moved here when I was 1, so I've only spent 68 of my 69 years here, so, you know.
I think that counts as a native.
I would count so.
I was born in Rose Medical, so I'll count that.
That's, yeah. And I've still probably been here twice as long as, close to
you have been. So you've seen more of the change. So, you know, it's weird, like the whole Colorado thing, because everybody moves here from out of state.
I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
New England.
So it's nice to see it, man. So if you're going with your favorite year of the Broncos. Like, what was your favorite year watching the Broncos?
Well, the first year we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So 1997? Well, the 97-98 season.
No, 77,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When we went and got thumped by the Dallas Cowboys 27-10.
That was one of your favorite ones?
Yeah, because it was the first.
Okay.
That's
I mean,
true.
you know, you got to understand. I was a fan in 1960. I was,
Sure.
9 years old. Their first year, most of it, and then I turned 10 later in the year. But at any rate, it's one of those things where, you're watching these guys going, 2-10 and 3-11 and stuff like that as they went from 12 games to 14 games, and then finally they started being worth a dang, and there was Lou Saban was here, kind of built a team up, and then Dan Reeves took them to the bowl. It was a very exciting year.
Sure.
And that year was one of the, it was when I was first starting to actually knew where to go to actually meet some of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a place that John Keyworth owned, and I would go there, and he had a song out that make those miracles happen. It was so funny. The guys would get up on stage, and Keyworth is singing make these miracles happen, and and I'm meeting all these guys that played for the Broncos. They were it was easy to do at that time because
sure.
it wasn't such a crunch of people like it is now.
Yeah, it's certainly exploded too. I still feel like it's America's new pastime. I mean, I feel like more people watch football than they do baseball. But
probably. I'm not 100% on that.
It just seems like most people I talk to are NFL fans over MLB.
Yes.
Some of them are both, some less, some more. I don't know. But so 78.
Yep.
Yeah.
The 77
season,
78 Super Bowl.
Okay.
So that's the 2 years before that. The Pittsburgh Steelers had won.
Okay. Was that the Terry Bradshaw era?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No.
Well, or was it? I guess it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't know.
Been.
I think it was late 70s for Bradshaw when they won. They won 4 of their bowls or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Dallas won, and then I know that the Raiders won somewhere in there, but we had to get through both those teams, Pittsburgh and Oakland, to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that would have been a fun one to watch.
Earn the spot.
I mean, I'm obviously a fan of the Terrell Davis, Elway,
like
that whole team.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Ed McCaffrey.
Don't get me wrong. The actual winning was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't around for the other one, but football's interesting how it's progressed. Like the padding, all the camera, the fans. So my girlfriend was putting together a work trivia. So I'm going to ask you, do you know how many Super Bowl appearances the Broncos have had?
Oh, he has to know this. Come on, Chris. I don't even know. I'm going to guess, though.
Oh, man. I'm thinking it's like 8.
Oh, right on the money.
Did you nail it?
Right on
I
the money.
I was just kind of going.
Just kind of counting through?
Yeah,
but,
it was 8.
Yeah, it's about 8. Now, I got... Okay, you're going to love this because I wrote some stuff down. It's a lot of stuff I didn't write down.
That's all right. We go off script here.
We're going... we got... Okay, that first time that we went to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And Craig Morton was the Morton to Moses stuff. That was when that was going on. But the offensive line, there was an offensive guard, and his name was Tom Glassick, and he was not large. He was like a 250-pound offensive guard, okay? Mm-hmm. But he was so technically superior that he took care of business, and
he knew how to move other people's weight around.
When he at the Super Bowl, he weighed 210 pounds because he couldn't keep food down. He was allergic to grass, actual grass. He was allergic to it and he couldn't keep food down. So he's playing against Harvey Martin and Randy White, these two guys that were, and he's 210 pounds. And the guy beside him was a guy by the name of Andy Maurer. And he was the third tackle they had that year. There was Marv Montgomery. He broke his leg. Then Bill Bain came in and he broke his leg. And then you got Andy Maurer, who was horrible, came in. Well, I mean, he was not horrible. He got him to the Super Bowl. But if you you wouldn't recall this, but anyway, Morton was just beat to death by the time they got to the Super Bowl. but he had a connection thing with the Moses. It was amazing. So, but they got there, but then Harvey Martin and Randy White just flat took over in that game, and 27-10, that was one of the closer games we had in the Super Bowl until we finally won.
Yeah, until you beat Green Bay, right? 90.
Yeah.
Was it 97, 98 season?
Right.
97 season and
And
early
then
98.
Yeah, and then Atlanta the next year.
And then repeat,
God,
98, 99.
what glory days.
Boy, I know what it feels like to repeat Super Bowls. I'll tell you that. It's
Isn't that nice?
That
No,
was
you
great.
would know, wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
no,
I
no
love
one's done 3 though, right? No one has done 3.
Three-peat?
Yeah, I feel like if Elway would have stayed, it could have been
Buffalo
possible.
Bills do it?
They went.
They went.
Oh, but they didn't.
They went time after time.
Yeah, because they went like 91, 2-3, or 2-3-4, I think. Somewhere the early 90s, but the Bills were dominating.
Yeah, I mean, wide right, wide left. At any rate, yeah,
Yeah.
they dang near won a couple of them, but their kicker just
So with the whole fans in the stands thing, before I came in, I was hanging out with the homeowner's son a little bit. He was watching the World Wrestling, World WWE, and so they actually have big screens, like all set up in there, and people like stream to watch it. And so there's all these live people that are
shows a live
streaming.
audience from a TV screen.
Yeah, and that was the first time I seen that because the MLB like has the cardboard cutouts.
I know.
Right.
We thought about
You
doing
know?
that, maybe putting our face on one of them.
Yeah,
the NBA's got like people in the stands that are like live pictures. And
Okay.
they're moving around and stuff. Now I don't know how much of it is just recording, they keep doing it, or if they're actually watching it. But it's kind of interesting.
It's a weird time of how
It is weird.
NASCAR is really the only sport that's allowing any sort of fans, and that's real contingent on what part of the country we're in.
Right.
Like New Hampshire Motor Speedway allowed almost 20,000 fans in. There's been a lot of tracks allowing fans in, but a lot of them aren't. So we're headed to Daytona this weekend. I think they're going to allow 15,000 maybe for the finale here before we head into the NASCAR playoffs.
was that like 10% capacity or something?
Yeah, the place holds 250,000. Daytona.
In all honesty, that's kind of how Kevin and I got going, was NASCAR.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah?
Yeah, we started chatting.
Yeah. We started
what
chatting
was your
about
first combo? It was
NASCAR.
NASCAR.
Well, see,
That was-
he services the store I work at.
Yeah.
So, and do you talk about where we work?
Oh yeah, we've talked about the grocery
Yeah.
biz a few times. I mean, we're associated with a big grocery chain. So yeah, Chris and I got to talking in there. I'm trying to remember back when I remember you and I made a bet on both New England Super Bowls,
Right.
and I think I won both of them. Or no, maybe I didn't.
No, I won one and you won one.
That's right. So we're 1-1 on bets,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
kind of how Chris and I started. We,
Well,
you know,
it'd have been more if it hadn't been for, I don't know. I can't remember what all happened, but somehow we weren't able to get with this last. I don't know if it was
I think
this
it was
last year.
so the Philadelphia Super Bowl that they beat us a couple years ago. You took Philly, I lost, and then I beat you in the Atlanta comeback. And then we decided not to bet going forward on the LA Ram one. We're just like, we're not going to do that, I don't think.
That was a good Super Bowl.
I didn't want to do it because I knew they were going to get their butt beat. It's like I knew you guys are going to beat them. So I didn't. I wasn't a fan of theirs at all. So.
But yeah, you're right.
Even for a friendly bet, I just didn't want to do it.
Didn't want to take it. I think that's what it was. So 2 sports bets with the Super Bowl, and then a little NASCAR talk. You started
Yeah.
following Truex a little bit, and
Yeah.
we would kind of catch up on Mondays after the race.
Well, Truex being here was cool, and then I just kind of got into Truex and away drives and followed him. But it's fun watching NASCAR. It's like I was watching Indy the other day, and it's like they go fast, but it ain't the same.
It's a very different type of racing.
It
for
ain't
sure.
the same as bump and grind. You can't be bumping those Indy cars.
Oh no, you're talking life or death in those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
The safety
flying.
is they're dangerous.
All of a sudden, it becomes an aircraft.
It could.
Yeah.
The way it's shaped.
Oh, it was awful this year. I mean, it was like you're watching this really good race, right? And here they are. They get a yellow flag at the end with about 5 laps left, and I'm going, okay. So get the thing cleaned up so they can run the two laps of live racing, to finish this thing, because I know that Dixon can catch him.
Oh, Scott Dixon had it in the
Yeah,
back.
Scott Dixon was just lining him up, ready to go, and then they didn't do. They finished under yellow, and
They
that was
finished
it.
under
I'm
caution,
like,
yeah.
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then I remember I'd seen races finish that way before, but the NASCAR has figured out that they do.
Because I don't know all the rules.
Yeah, so Indy, because NASCAR about what year was it? Because NASCAR used to finish under caution a lot,
Right.
And fans, for obvious reasons, it's not very exciting.
Yeah.
So NASCAR implemented the overtime rule, which basically states it's a green-white checkered finish, but they have to take the white flag for the race to be official. Because if they wreck after the white, then the checker or the caution will come out, checkers, wreckers, what have you, and the race will be official. So the problem with IndyCar is they just run the amount of laps. So if there's a 200 laps, in the race, and they're under yellow at lap 199, the race is official, unfortunately. So IndyCar needs to adapt what NASCAR is doing with the overtime rule, and that it'll help those finishes tremendous. So
that was I was like, I spent all this time watching this thing. It's like watching Scott Dixon dominate this race, and I was just rooting for him. I loved his car. I loved the way he was running it, and it was one of those things where you watch a racer that gets like way out ahead, and then there's yellow, and then they bunch back up, but he just kept going back out ahead, and then Sato got a good it was running good.
Yeah,
I still think Scott would have caught him. Though.
He would have run him down, I feel like. But, I mean, it's hard to say. It's racing. There's a lot of those what-if scenarios. Truex has been caught in those where he's way out front by 5 seconds.
Oh, that's happened a lot with Truex.
Caution comes out, and all of a sudden Kevin Harvick gets the win. That's part of racing. But
So what was your favorite sport to play then?
Well,
some are boring to watch, but a lot of fun to play.
I was a swimmer. I mean, I was a diver and a gymnast.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't have guessed that.
So
you seem like a pitcher to me, like maybe a.
Well, I love baseball, but if you notice my eyes, I don't have good depth perception.
Oh, okay.
So I could see a pitch coming and have no idea where to swing at it. It was like, I'd play the outfield. I could get to anything because I was just fast. I was really fast, but it might bounce off my glove or my head. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, because once it's coming straight at me, I don't have depth perception.
Oh, okay.
Now, if I had a ball that I had to run after, I'd have a better chance of catching it.
Chase it down
because I have depth perception because it's not right at me.
Yeah.
But when they pitch, I couldn't hit worth a dang.
99 mile an
so
hour.
I'd sit there and I'd look like I was going to hit. I'd look like I was going to hit, and I'd never swing. I finally figured out not to swing, and then so I'd walk.
Yeah.
I'd be on first base, and 2 pitches later, I was standing on third.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, because there was
fast.
nobody could ever catch me. When stealing. I never got caught stealing except for one time. I had a couple of times where I was standing on third, and I'd edge off a third, enough to where he'd throw to third, and I'd go home. But one pitcher finally figured it out. He came walking over at me.
Oh, okay.
And that did it. That was going. He did it the way they're supposed to do it. I didn't even know the way you were supposed to do it at the time, but I figured it out after that.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
That's funny.
I don't know. It was a lot of fun. But I loved football, and I had I wanted to be a running back because I was really like I said, I was fast. But the coach that we had, I was in it was 8th grade lightweight football. So nobody was that heavy, right? So I was able to be competitive as far as not having to go up against guys your size. So it's
bigger nowadays.
Yeah, well. So I ended up, there was one guy that was faster than me. So I ended up being the second fastest guy, and then we got like 60 guys.
Yeah.
I was the second fastest guy on the team. And we were supposed to pick an offensive position and a defensive position to play. Offensive position. I knew he wanted left half. I said, okay, right half. So, and then he says, what defensive position? I said, well, okay, if I'm playing in the defensive backfield, I won't see the ball coming.
Safety?
So I said defensive line because I was quick enough to get by the guys.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I just said, and I knew how to tackle. So he goes, okay, and the first guy, he goes, Joe Murphy, you're the left left running back, and I'm going, okay, right running back. So he says, oh, Chris, you want to play on the line? That's great. You'll be our right offensive guard.
Oh, great. He said no.
I said, what? He never even gave me a chance to try out. And I never got a chance. One time in a game, I got to play on the defensive side, and I was in a backfield all the time. But sometimes it was. He only let me get in there the one game. It was like, oh, jeez.
On right guard, huh?
Yeah, right guard. I'd pull out on right guard, on this running play. Pull out and I'd lay a guy on his back, and the running back was so far behind me that the guy could get up and tackle him.
So you cleared the path for him, but the running back wasn't there.
Yeah,
he was still trying to get the motor running.
So anyway, never mind. Enough of this
Well,
down.
I was
sad
a
path.
I was a big swimmer. Swimming changed my physique. forever.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't get over 185 pounds. Like I was stuck there, and I'm way over that now. But
oh no, no one would have guessed that, Art.
Yeah, no, I look like I'm 110. No, but like no. So I swam for 4 months straight, 20 minutes a day, 4 days a week, and I put on 15 pounds of muscle and lost like mass, gained volume. Is that the right way to say it, or? Lost volume, gained mass.
Yeah, something like
muscle
that.
Mass.
Yeah, muscle mass.
So
weighs
yeah, it's
more.
probably the second way was the right way.
It outweighs any body
Yeah,
fat.
swimming's great, man. And I got an
Yeah.
ankle injury. Once I'm good to start working it out again, I'm probably gonna do some swimming.
Oh, water therapy is the way to do it for sure. And anytime I have back issues or anything, doing what I do for a living, walking 12 miles a day and up and down pushing pallets, I need to work out some of those, some of those joints.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I was a diver because I was like an acrobat. I mean, I could just like twist and flip and so like the
No splash.
trampoline, long horse vaulting, the floor exercise, and I did some high bar and all that stuff. But my brother was the gymnast though. He was an all around gymnast at both DU and CU.
Oh wow.
But he tore his shoulders out, and that kind of messed that up.
Now, was he
but he is
younger
a one
both at the same
fantastic
time, or-
artist. Ooh,
Really?
yeah.
Did he tear them both at the same time?
He tore one, and then he ended up tearing the other
Ooh.
from after he rehabbed. Favoring, you know how it is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, favor, and then he tore the other one.
Bummer. Now, was he older or younger than you?
They're both older. Both
Oh, okay.
my brothers are
So
older.
you're the
Oh,
youngster.
so you grew
You're
up
like me.
getting picked on the whole time, huh?
We're all the younger
I
brothers.
was like, Dan was 5 years older, and Tara's 3.5, 4 years older. They'd hang out together, and I was. But that's okay.
You're not cool yet.
Nah.
Yeah, my brother was
Yeah.
6 years older than me, and until I was like 17. He didn't want to talk to me.
See, I was different with my brother. My brother was
Yeah.
6.5, 7 years older than me, but we had a pretty good relationship growing up.
Yeah.
He would get involved with when I was real young. I used to take, because I've been a NASCAR fan since forever. So
Right.
when I was real young, I would take all my little NASCAR, die casts, my little cars, and I
Right.
would set up various locations around the house and race them. Like they would, we're at this track this week, and my brother would film it, with like a home camcorder kind of thing, and we'd have a lot of fun with it,
That's fun.
and he would participate with me on that.
Would you even set up the track to be that track?
I mean, we would do the best I could at
Yeah.
7 years old. I tried to improvise.
Sure.
And, I'm sitting there, having a good time. But yeah, so my brother and I, we had a pretty good relationship growing up. I feel like,
Yeah.
we didn't wrestle around too much. He's had that 7 years on me, but he contributed to some of the goofy things I did. So I'm appreciative of that.
I didn't grow up as an only child. I feel like there must be some difficulties with that. Like, 'cause, like if you don't have close friends, or like a strong peer group or parents that let you be social, like it's probably harder, because then you miss out on some of those social cues or, that you learn with your family.
Especially now more than ever. These kids are in the house doing Zoom. Even before COVID, I feel like they were already at that. They're just sitting at their iPads and
Yeah.
their tablets and their Xboxes, which is all well and good in moderation.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, you couldn't get me in the house.
I
outdoors.
was my bike. Give me my bicycle. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
It's like we were in a hilly area, so my legs got a lot of workout.
Oh, yeah.
Probably contributed to my being able to run.
Oh yeah, I loved my bicycle. I took that thing everywhere until I got my license, and then I never rode it again.
Yeah, what was more
Yeah.
exciting, getting the bike or getting the car?
Oh, get in the car for
You
sure.
think?
Oh,
Yeah, the car. Yeah, the car because you got a radio.
What was
in
your
there,
first
you
car,
know.
Chris? What were you rocking back in whatever year that would have been?
well, I think the first car I actually drove was my brother had a 57 Chevy.
Ooh,
It wasn't
nice.
built up or anything. It was just an old beater.
yeah.
But I drove it around a little bit. But then I don't know. I had a lot of different cars. Some of them weren't very good. I had an Omni.
Okay.
It was horrible. It would track. It would like track off. You're driving along and it'd pull to the left or pull to the right.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's, that's safe.
Oh no, it wasn't.
And back then, like the airbag system probably wasn't quite as, I mean, so do you feel like the steel car, like the old heavier steel cars, like that they drive better because the weight, or how do they
They're
weigh,
definitely safer.
how do they weigh down new vehicles? Do they just like throw concrete slabs in there or something?
I think that a lot of the chassis itself is, aluminum based. I think some of it's got a little bit of lead in there. But these newer chassis are not solid steel like they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at, a 1970, Chevy Nova versus today's, even a Chevy Camaro, and the weight is going to be way different.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have the weight of the V8, of course, which has been lightened in time. But as far as the chassis, you look at the crash rating on it, sure, it might be safe, with the airbags and crush panels and all that. But I still feel like those old boats, those old steel cars, you could drive that thing into a cement wall and walk away.
And back when we were growing up, a few people did drive them into cement walls, and they didn't come back.
Well, that's not good.
No.
Life can be unforgiving at times.
Yes. Yeah, especially abutments. Yes.
Yeah.
Abutments?
Yeah, like that would be a solid concrete thing that you run into.
Oh.
It's like they're common around railroads, but
Okay.
that's what I would call like when a railroad goes over the highway.
Yeah.
And you have the thing that comes down in the middle, and it's a very solid concrete.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the abutment I was,
Okay.
but that might not even be an accurate way to say the word, but
Or like an embankment, like an embankment on an interstate where they got the big cement barriers going up to the overpass. Hit one of those, that's going to do a number.
Well, not as much as like if this thing is sitting there and you're driving and it doesn't go anywhere when you hit it. Period.
Yeah.
And it's like straight on, boom.
Yeah.
And it would happen when people would drink a lot back in the day, and there was the width of the openings was less.
Mm-hmm.
They make everything safer. They make it, if there's something that's you got to go through, they've got it set up so that it's really wide and nobody's getting close to those things.
Sure.
So by being off a little bit, it's not that big a deal, but.
Yeah,
back then it was.
Back then, if you wandered a little bit left or right, you were going into it. That's not good.
I've never wrecked an automobile. Like the worst that I did, it was winter time, and I thought I was going to be cool with my all-wheel drive car that was manual, and I was trying to drift the corners and be sweet on it, and so like I did the drift, but then I didn't stop, and it kept going, and then the tail came out front, and then. Luckily, there was no opposite coming traffic. The roads were clear because I crossed over the other lane.
Ooh, dangerous.
And then slammed up against the curb with the two tires, and it threw the alignment out. That was and also another time when I was drifting, I got a car stuck in a snowbank and then had to dig it out. So those are the only type of accidents.
Was that your Subaru?
Yeah, that I've been in the Subaru. Yeah.
I've never wrecked myself, but I've been wrecked. I got rear-ended one time real bad. I was the meat in the sandwich. I got hit from behind and then pushed underneath a pickup truck.
That was the Focus, right?
It tore up my Ford Focus. Yeah. Back when. So that was a bummer.
Yeah, you liked that Focus, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a pretty nice little car.
Did you ever see that?
I don't think you saw it.
No.
He just talks about it?
Yeah, I've heard him talk about it.
I probably talked about it maybe on the podcast. I don't know.
Yes, you
have. It was, I flew down to Phoenix. Actually, you went with me on that trip.
Yeah.
We flew down to Phoenix together back in 2011 and bought it for my brother. We drove it back. I had it for 3 months before it got totaled.
That sucks.
So little time spent in it, but it was fun. It had some upgraded parts on it and stuff, but I didn't really get too much into modifying vehicles. I always wanted to, being around racing and stuff. But yeah, cars are fun, man. I'm looking to get my Mustang. I'll be in a Stang here in a couple years.
He will. He's going to believe and achieve that.
Oh, you better believe it.
So Kevin, one of our listeners submitted a word of the week, but you said you have
you got a word of the week for us?
We'll do it later.
We'll do two.
We'll do it later. We'll do my word later.
Okay. So giving us a little cliffhanger there, build up the anticipation, huh?
So one of our listeners by the name of Rick sent us the word. So the word of the week, guys, as you know, word of the week, new segment. If you want to get a part of it, discussioncombustion@gmail.com. Hit us up on all social media platforms. Send us your word of the week. Tell us what you're thinking. We're always open to suggestions. So today's word is dowdy.
Dowdy.
D-O-W-D-Y. That's the word of the week. Used in a sentence?
Dowdy.
Yeah? You want it in a sentence?
Yes, please.
She was dressed quite dowdy.
Oh, Chris nailed it.
Oh, really?
He got it. He's got it. He knows the word of the week.
Did you were?
Oh yeah, I read a lot.
Okay.
Chris is a smart man. He came prepared.
So based upon how Chris used it, it means that she's dressed promiscuous. Is that dowdy, or is it more like fancy?
No.
Or is it Okay, just
unfashionable, essentially.
Oh, dressed unfashionable.
Yep. So this is
so the opposite of what I was
so it's an adjective, and it's describing someone's clothes as unfashionable or without style and appearance.
Oh, dowdy.
So Chris pretty much had it in the sentence there. So
Yes.
that's the word of the week, guys. Dowdy. It's a new word to me. We'll work.
Dowdy.
Yeah. Sometimes I look dowdy. I feel like.
Like I thought pouty at first. Like is dowdy pouty? Maybe you're pouty because you're looking dowdy. You know.
Yep. Dowdy. Word of the week.
Yeah, you know that the dowdy girl at the girl that's dressed dowdy at the bar ain't doing that great. You know.
Yeah. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So that's a new word for me. I'll add it to my my vocabulary.
I like it. Well, hopefully we be getting smarter on this podcast.
We try to learn something.
So
hopefully that's not a word you need to use really soon.
I know, right?
Because to have to describe somebody as being dowdy, it's not great.
Typically,
my
not
problem
great.
is I'm going to try to like find a way to use the word of the week now in a sentence like naturally. So I'm gonna find a way.
That's how I did a couple weeks ago with the word dross.
To do the dowdy.
We had a word of the week dross a few weeks ago. I've been trying to work that in.
Yeah.
You know, when we're sitting at the cardboard baler, I'm like, oh, this is dross.
Yes.
You know, it's worthless.
So if you had to pick, it's a time old argument, time old tale, but vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream.
Well, it all depends on whether or not you can add things to the vanilla, because the vanilla you can add anything to, and it's. But I love chocolate, so I'll probably say chocolate.
You going with the chocolate?
Chocolate over vanilla. I think that's probably a good go-to. I do like vanilla ice cream, like Chris is saying, because you can add to it.
Yeah.
You know, like the drumsticks. You know, the vanilla ice cream drumstick. Oh, for whatever the reason, the bottom of that cone is delicious. I don't know what's in there, but it's very good. I'll probably go vanilla. I think.
Yeah, I'm more of a vanilla bean guy. Like I like those little beans that come in there that are like little crunchies, and that one is my tops. But really, if I could do anything, it's probably gonna be like
Rocky Road.
Is it Rocky Road? Rocky Road?
I'll go Rocky Road.
So yeah, I love the cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream is pretty
Yeah,
good.
that one's one of my favorites.
It gets a little sweet. Rocky Road's what? It's vanilla, marshmallow, and almonds, right?
Is it almonds?
Almonds or
walnuts?
walnuts?
Maybe it is walnuts.
I don't know.
It's something
but
crunchy.
Anyway, there's nuts, but it's good. I like Rocky Road, but I mean there's a lot of different ones that I like. So we try to keep the ice cream out of the house because I prefer my 185 over my 225 that I was.
Yes,
and ice cream is not going to help you stay at 185. That's for sure.
I asked my girlfriend to stop buying the Kettle jalapeno chips.
They're so good.
When those are in the house, I can't. I have to. I'll be sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, that sounds pretty good right now. Just a little bowl.
They're good.
You fill up the bowl. That bowl was good. Maybe I'll just have
another bowl.
I've realized that I can't control myself, and during COVID, the most addicting thing that I've had is Taco Bell so far. Have I mentioned that? Because for 2 months, I was getting Taco Bell at least once a week, and so we snipped that too.
Yeah, I can't do Taco Bell much.
Yeah.
If you like tacos, the thing to do is you go to Costco.
Okay.
And you get their street tacos.
Ooh.
And that it comes in a thing, and I save around $15 worth. But my wife and I get 3 meals out of it.
Out of the street tacos?
Out of one thing of street tacos. So that's $5.
So they come like pre-made, and then you just got to heat them up. Or?
Well, the meat's made up. Mm-hmm. And then there's cabbage, which is really, really better than lettuce on it. I'm just like
cabbage, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And then some cheese and the tortillas are in there. But it's really good. And we'll do that, and we get 3 meals out of it.
So $15, 2 people, 3 meals. So it's like $2.50 a person.
Yep.
Per meal.
I like that. That's eating cheap right there.
And it's a lot. It tastes a lot better than Taco Bell.
Probably better for you too, for sure.
Taco Bell tears me up.
It's the hot sauce. So what I've done
that's what it
is we've compiled the hot sauce, and we'll just use the hot sauce on other things instead of getting Taco Bell. So you still kind of have the fix.
Oh, so you put on like
sauce. Well, no, like and you get like frozen burritos or something, healthier, but then you put the Taco Bell hot sauce on that.
I don't know.
So that was our workaround.
If I have my choice, I'm still going to go Tabasco or Louisiana or Cholula over Taco Bell's hot sauce.
Tapatio.
Tapatio's pretty good. It's not bad. I like the vinegar-based ones. I'm more like with chips. I like salt and vinegar. I like that vinegary taste.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
The Cholula's really good.
Cholula's pretty good, I think. I'll put it on my huevos in the morning. Get a little spice. Take my acid reflux pill. I'll be good to go.
That's happening more and more to me too nowadays. So here I got another one because I know you have some things that you want to cover, and we want to give you the floor on that. So I'm going to.
So would you rather?
So would you? Who do you think would win in a fight? All right, Tony the Tiger, right? Cereal guy.
Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, they're great. Tony the Tiger or Chester the Cheetah, the Cheetos mascot.
Oh yeah. So Tony the Tiger versus Cheeto the Cheetah.
Chester
the Cheeto Cheetah.
No, the Cheetah. Chester the Cheetah.
It'd be hard to hit Chester.
He's pretty quick.
But if Tony ever got a hold of him, I mean, that boy's buff.
They're great.
Great.
I think Tony the Tiger takes the cake. I mean,
I'm on Tony.
He might have to chase Chester a little bit, but when he gets a hold of him, it's over.
Well, he might outpoint him though.
That's true.
That
technicality.
If there's no knockout, Chester might get it on technicality because you know how it is. They pepper him with things that Tony don't even notice.
Yeah.
But they count for points,
Yeah. So what Chester's going to do to win the fight with Tony is he's going to equip the Flaming Hot Cheeto, and then he's going to use the Flaming Hot Cheeto dust to impair his opponent. Get the Flaming Hot Cheeto dust into Tony's eyes.
Yeah, but see, that's fighting dirty.
At that point, I mean, was there rules to this fight?
I guess not.
I mean, I think
has somebody
Tony
thought this out ahead of time already? Before he ever asked it. Yes, I think so.
Yeah, actually, I thought about the speed thing, but the Flaming Hot Cheeto just came to mind. It was
okay.
Yeah, but as far as what I like more, let's go Tony because those Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes are good. I haven't had them in a while.
In the morning.
I haven't had them in a while. Cereal, if I do cereal, I try not to do the real sweet ones. It's so much sugar. I've really been digging oatmeal in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my cholesterol down a little bit, and that's why I'm drinking light.
You're doing good at it, Kevin.
I'm doing all right.
I'm actually happy that
I'm trying.
You made some changes, man.
I'm trying. My cholesterol is just a little too high, so cutting out a few things, But sugary cereals, I really haven't liked since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Raisin Bran, Honey Bunches of Oats, those are my go-tos.
Honey Bunches is best.
Cheerios,
But. So I had one more Would You Rather. It's kind of a little darker than the other things here. So if you had to choose an apocalyptic scenario, like you had to pick it and it's going to happen, does the world, do we deal with a nuclear holocaust? Or does the world run out of resources, people starve and die in conflict over shortage of resources, if you had to pick one?
That's pretty intense, Art. That's one of the more intense Would You Rathers we've had.
Yeah, I think I'm going with I'm leaving before with the rapture, so I don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
Yeah. that is the third option.
He's going with option C.
So, hey,
y'all could have fun with that.
Yeah, he's checking out.
I don't know. Both would be horrible,
man.
obviously.
Terrible.
I think
quick sounds better.
The quicker sounds better. I feel like the resource thing is more likely to happen, but then if there was a resource war, then nukes would probably be used. So it's probably going to be a nuclear holocaust, is what I'm going to say.
If you had to take the lesser of two evils, yeah. I mean, I'll stand and fight. I'll do the best I can, regardless of the scenario that's thrown at us. I think the food shortage would be a much bigger impact than people realize. When people can't have access. We almost saw a taste of that this year.
It's quite likely.
It's very likely. And
I forget what the terminology was for it, but humans hit our annual resource like within the last week or something.
Oh yeah,
and that's where like we have used. It takes longer than a year to reaccumulate the resources that we've used. So in the 8th month of this year, we've hit our whole year resource mark. So everything that we're using beyond that is kind of like something that cannot be replenished within the next 12 months.
Oh sure,
it's kind of interesting reading that.
I mean,
just thinking about humanity without agriculture or all these different ways to, have abundant, fruits, veggies, and everything else. Like if it was all natural, we wouldn't be able to feed the amount of people on the planet right now. Like,
one thing that COVID has done is it's showed us just how on an edge we live, the whole world. it's on an edge, and it's like just a little bit here, a little bit there, and it upsets the cart, and that everything works fine as long as everybody's buying a normal amount of this and a normal amount of that, and you also have people that were in doing jobs that just don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really, really difficult. I mean, I'm beyond belief about how difficult it is for some of these people. I'm not exactly sure how to approach it, but there are a lot of people suffering.
There is.
It's not pretty. So, I feel fortunate to have a job. People thank me for being there at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But they thank you for working. I go,
I'm thankful as well.
It's my job, and I'm glad I have it.
Yeah.
And my wife's working from home,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't really want to go into the office that
I don't think
much.
any of
It's
us
just
do.
like
Yeah.
they because she'll have to wear a mask the whole time, and she does not. You put a mask on her for more than a half an hour, and she is not one happy lady. I'll tell you.
Well, and women
Yeah.
have to deal with they have makeup on, and then the mask is sweating. So it's harder for women, I feel like, to wear the masks, especially with makeup
Yeah.
and that whole factor.
Yeah, you just got to find one that fits. I mean, being that we wear glasses, dealing with the fogging up issue.
You got to have it
over
over the nose just right.
And that's why, I wear mine backwards, upside down, the
Yeah.
wrong way, because I've, figured out how to keep the air going down so it doesn't fog up my glasses. But doing what we do, being in one for 8 to 10 hours a day is just part of life now.
Yeah.
It's just, you just get used to it. I mean, there's times I have to go outdoors and catch my breath.
I bet.
It's part of it. But being in the grocery biz, we definitely see a lot of what's going on and seeing,
Yeah.
I look in people's buggies and kind of see what they're stocking up on. And, you still can't get Lysol wipes, Clorox, none of that. There's still long-term outs that we're dealing with.
Right.
And I think it's going to take a long time for it to be fully replenished again. Same with ammo for that matter. You can't find ammo right now.
Yeah.
So people are stocking up slowly.
Well, I got a couple of stories that I think you guys might enjoy.
Okay.
So,
Please.
anyway, back in when Elway was his rookie year, right? And he was I think it was 83. So there was a place that I knew that the guys went. It was a different place from the other place that I knew the guys went, and I was there, and they'd go be off on their own for a while, and then they would go around and you could then mingle, and end up running into Elway in there, and I said, John, really good to meet you. Really glad that we were able to have you here, and it was the very week that he had been set down, and Steve DeBerg had taken over. Well, DeBerg had a fumbling problem, and it plagued him, and he was not a bad quarterback, but he just couldn't hang on to the ball. I figured out why that night. When I shook Elway's hand, it was like a dinner plate. I mean, it's like my wrist disappeared. It's like his hands are huge.
Yeah.
So he just wraps his hand around the ball, and he could hang on to that thing one-handed. He's not fumbling,
Yeah.
If you really think about it, Elway rarely fumbled, where DeBerg fumbled a lot. And when I shook, and I met DeBerg shortly after I met Elway, and his hand's my size. And
Yeah.
I don't have large hands. So it's like I shook his hand, and I was like, it struck me, the difference. But another thing about that was I asked Elway, I go, so I got a question for you. When you first got here, when you first came in, and before training camp, did they show you the playbook at all? Did they work with you on that at all? He says, no, I never saw it until the first day of camp.
Wow.
The next year, they started working with the guys on their playbooks before the season. And I'm sitting there going, I doubt that what I said had anything to do with it, but you never know. Yeah. So that
Just give yourself the credit on that.
Yeah. And then it was a couple of years later, Elway was they had training camp up in Greeley, and I knew somebody, I don't know, somebody, but I was able to get on the sidelines, where the coaches were, and I was on the sideline, and Elway's doing a down and out, and he fires the ball when he fires it. They talked about the Elway cross where it hit him in the chest. The point of the ball would actually put a bruise on their chest that was like an X. So they called it the Elway Cross.
Yeah.
And at any rate, he threw one, but he overthrew the guy, and it was coming right at me. And I'm going, wow, I could catch an Elway pass, and I'm looking at it, and I go, and I ducked. The thing went right over my head, and I'm like, no way I was going to try to catch that thing.
Brave until the last second.
The closer it got to me, the more I realized how fast that thing was coming.
Oh yeah, put some heat on it.
That's
no
funny.
way was I going to do that. There was a guy named Paul Howard. He played offensive left guard for the Broncos for a long time, and I got to know him and his wife Kathy. And I'd go after games. They'd always go over to Keyworth's bar. So I'd go. I was in there and I was talking, and I'd end up sitting there talking with him and his wife Kathy. So I go, do you have any interesting stories, that of you and going up against any of these defensive linemen? He goes, well, there's one guy that really don't like, and Kathy's sitting there going, don't like him. And she knew exactly where he was going. And he says, so we're in a game. The play is over, and Mean Joe Green kicks me right in the nuts.
Uh-oh.
And it split his scrotum.
Oh,
Gosh.
And this is after a play. So this is like, okay, Mean Joe Green. Now I understand why they call you Mean Joe Green, because you play dirty.
Yeah.
that's pretty dirty.
You can imagine his wife was not happy about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either.
Were they not wearing cups back then, or?
Oh, this is just crazy stuff.
Take one right in the hangers. That's not good.
Now, I knew a guy that came in the store, that him and his wife came in the store, and his name was Frank Haraway. He would do he would type out the play-by-play for, it was the Denver Bears at the time, but also the Broncos and the Nuggets. So he'd sit in there and he'd type it all out, but I knew them, and so I ended up going to some games with his wife, June, and I'd sit with her at the games. It's like they liked me because I'm, let's face it, I'm kind of chatty. It's been said, so to speak. But I was able to. I got to know some different people and I got some better seats at certain times, but I knew some of the guys that were the ushers. And one time I was with the usher at the opposing bench, and the Lakers are in town. So I'm sitting there, and they come off. They're getting warmed up, is before the game, and they're standing by the bench. And I look up, and I go, okay, that's Magic, and that's a guard. And I'm looking way up there. They're above us, but still, 6'9" guard.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, God, and then Kareem's sitting there, and he stands up, and I go, oh. I thought Magic was tall until Kareem stood up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty wild being around those guys. I see Birdman comes into the store a little bit here and there. And
yeah, I've talked to him a couple times.
I was chatting with him, and man, it's like, hey man, how's it going? Real nice guy though. Real nice guy.
No, he's very nice.
But he's got a duck under the signs that say here's the pasta. He's got to go under that.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's tall.
Wow.
He says, it also reminds me, because back when, I don't know, the Nuggets had a center that played here, and he played in a lot of different plays, but Danny Shays, he played here. His dad was Dolph Shays. He played long time ago, but so Danny was 6'11". And he was what they would, Coach Mo would call a white stiff. He was just couldn't jump, but he was serviceable. But he would come to the store, and he would pull up his 4x right in front of the store, right by the door, in a no parking zone. I mean,
just put
he
it right
didn't
there.
care.
Oh yeah.
And his plate said 7-footer. Okay. And I said to him one time, Danny, aren't you 6'11", 6'10", 6'11"? And he goes 6'11", 7 foot. What's the difference? I go,
1 inch.
good point. You know,
Because
I wasn't going to bother the guy. You know, I was like,
right.
And Issel used to come in the store too, and it was so funny because he'd be shopping with his wife, and he'd have to like bend over and reach down to the buggy
to push the
because
buggy.
he's so darn tall, you know.
Yeah.
Because he was 6'10".
That's how Birdman looks. You're watching him push it through produce. It looks like he's
Yeah.
got one of the little child shopping carts.
Yeah.
He's just towering over this thing.
Oh,
you know?
jeez, it's funny. But yeah, those are some interesting times. I'll never forget Alex English. That's beautiful jumper
So you go into one of their houses, you know it's all custom built, everything's
Oh, yeah.
custom made.
Yep.
You go into one of those basketball players' houses, and you probably feel like you're a short person now in this person's house because their sinks are probably
sinks are
like
high, yeah.
way up here. Everything's like super tall everywhere.
Sure.
I honestly, with the average height of a sink, I wish I could raise that up because it hurts my back to like wash dishes in the sink sometimes.
On the average height.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the Nuggets go, I wish that Murray and the Joker had a couple more people to help them on defense because that team's good, but I think that not having Barton and Chris Harris is really, that's not Chris Harris, is it? It's Harris though. Anyway, Harris and Barton not being there is hurting them a lot.
They're feeling the
You know,
feeling
but
the
you know,
absence.
people say don't make excuses. I go, no, but it does contribute.
Oh, absolutely
you know?
it does. Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Well, Murray's incredible. He's doing exactly what I'd hoped he would do when they drafted him. I mean, the guy can be nuclear when he's out there and has it going. I mean, it's just like not missing when he's on the threes, and I love a guy that can hit a three, but it can also do a pull up 10-footer, 12-footer, and it doesn't matter. You know, the distance doesn't matter. Just as a feel for how hard to shoot the ball on,
Sure.
From whatever distance. Not many guys can do that.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching much ball. I haven't kept up with it. You know, sports are just so weird this year that I keep up with NASCAR where I can, and just don't have much time to watch a lot of these games. But
You know who else comes in the store?
who?
In our store.
Which one?
Well, he hasn't. I've only seen him twice. But A.J. Johnson, Alexander Johnson, the middle linebacker for the Broncos.
Oh, I think you told me that. Yeah, you chatted with him a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it was really funny. The first time I met him, I looked at him and I go, man, I know he, so I walked over and I go, so I got to ask, do you play with the Broncos? And he goes, yeah, I do. And I go, so what position do you play? Safety. And I'm looking at him, I'm going, safety. Boy, they're making safeties big these days, And I went home and I looked him up and everything, and found out that he was a linebacker and everything. I also found out why he had been later coming into the league, because a situation had happened when he was I think right out of school or whatever. But him and another guy were accused of rape, which was, and then it turned out later that she rescinded about him.
Oh, like one of those.
It was one of those things. She goes, no. It was the other guy, just the other guy, but it kept him out of football for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
just
I mean, it was like ridiculous. And here's this guy. I mean, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
he's really a nice guy. No way did he deserve that type of deal going on with him. And I love having him playing for the Broncos because the guy is totally changed what's going on with the fronts. The linebacking core. I mean, it's just amazing. So,
well, good thing he's playing. Good things you retract that, because a lot of people their careers are being put on hold, ruined, questioned over a lot of false accusations, and I know you got to take them seriously and stuff, but
that's a tough accusation. I mean, that's like
really
like
tough
a career-changing, life-changing accusation.
Yeah,
and is it that way both ways around though? Like if a female got accused of raping somebody, which would it be is I don't know. That's probably a delicate, walk on eggshells subject, but.
Well, even though it does happen, what happens is that that people just can't see that a man could be raped. They're just like, but it can happen.
Of course it can. Yeah.
And a woman can do that. So it's not. I mean, it doesn't. It's just not common. It's not hard for a girl if she wants to. To find somebody.
Absolutely.
So that is one of the reasons I think that people like, oh yeah, sure, but it can happen.
It absolutely can. Yeah, it might not be in the kind of numbers that you see the other way around, but it still happens, and it needs to be treated the same.
One of the things that's going on these days is there's a lot of things that just essentially get down to bigotry, and it's really sad that there's some people that just can't pull away from it.
Mm-hmm.
When I grew up, my dad was in World War II, and but when I was growing up, one of his best friends was a Japanese guy, George.
Mm-hmm.
George Bueno was a Japanese dude, and they would go hunting and fishing together and everything, and so I learned as a young man to look at a person. Is a person nice or a jerk?
Yeah.
So, and
judge on action, not a
judge exactly on what they're about. Where do they come from? So, I didn't even know what bigotry was until I started hearing people saying some things, and I'm going, what are you talking about? Like one of my friends in the school was one of the only black kids in the school.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was the only black kid at the school, as a matter of fact. And I got along with him great,
Sure.
And I went out to his farm because his dad was a trainer at Centennial Racetrack, and so they had horses at their place and everything. And I rode my bike out there, and then I got to ride the horses and stuff, But Bunny and this guy, I thought I was fast. I was fast compared to like normal people. Bunny made me look like I was standing still.
Really?
Oh, geez, he was fast. I mean, we're talking about, that 9 flat 100 type,
Mm-hmm.
fast. That he was fast. He was running 100 yards under 10. I know that. He was in the 9s. And I'd probably run 11 something or something like that.
Pretty quick.
I could have been in
Pretty
the 10s. I don't know, but he was just blazing fast. And but he was a great guy, and I knew, and a lot of the guys that I knew, like I knew a lot of Hispanic guys. Back then it was my Mexican friends, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't understand it, and I still don't. I don't understand bigotry, but I put it this way: I'm bigoted against bigots.
Yeah.
That seems fair enough.
Yeah. It just bothers me. I can't understand it. It's just So as I see all this stuff going on, it's hard for me to understand why.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I understand how real it is.
Sure.
It's very, very real, and people don't understand it in a sense that they look at it from their point of view rather than turning it around and looking at somebody else's point of view. So. When you're like in that man's skin, you can't do it. You can try to do it, but you at least should try.
Yeah.
That's the point. You got to at least try to understand. If you don't even try, you're certainly not going to understand.
Mm-hmm. That's true. A lot of closed-mindedness, just tunnel vision, doing it my way, not thinking about anyone else,
Right.
It's it's a crazy world. It really is.
I mean, it takes time and effort to pay attention to your thoughts and
Sure.
And question your own beliefs. Like,
Right.
You have to. You can't be a prideful person if you're going to look at yourself and try to tear yourself. Like, if you're full of pride, then like you're gonna like hold on to things like, oh no, but that's my personality trait and I want to keep that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like trying to just tear it down, and then potentially there's greener pastures with a different understanding. And it's I've always thought personally it's important to know that I don't know everything, so that way I'm not capping myself and staying stuck in a certain mentality, because I could learn from someone who's smarter than me. I could learn from someone who is less intellectual as me. Like,
Both ways.
Everyone has a life that, so that I believe in being a bigot against bigots.
Yeah,
that's
I
basically
stand
what
with
I'm
that
getting at. That's what I'm getting at. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a T-shirt out of it.
I'm a bigot against bigots. Yeah. We could sell
Bigots
that.
for bigots.
Bigots against bigots.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So, so my word of the day.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Word of the day. What do you got?
So my word of the day is grace.
Grace.
So, what is the difference between justice, mercy, and grace? Justice is getting what you deserve. Mercy is not getting what you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Grace is getting the good that you didn't earn, or don't deserve. So that kind of explains the grace that we get from Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love to listen to you guys, and so many of the things you talk about. You know, I could make quotes from the Bible from some of the stuff that you guys talk about. Although I know you guys aren't Christian, but you're so close to what the Christian values are.
I believe in a lot of the values and like, because I've been to a lot of churches and sit and listen to preachers even after I was, you know, in belief of agnostic or whatever I am, and there's some solid info in there, like good ways to live your life or good perspectives on how to like look at a problem or like. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot. I don't know. It's just the Bible's interesting though, because it's like, you know, you have the first draft and then
Testament,
then the Second Testament, and it's like changed and it's man-made, you know. So it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, there's a lot of greatness in here, but also I feel like there's some skewed information.
Okay, so let me just say two things that you just brought up. There's the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Okay.
Now the Old Testament, the covenants are in there, but when Jesus came, he came to teach, and he came to explain what God really wanted, because he is God. He's God in man. And then he came here and he taught us, and he showed that he was God by the miracles that he performed. And they did this time after time after time. He's doing all these different things and trying to show people, you know, the power that he had in that. And that was part of what he was doing. But he was also teaching all along the way. And so then the books of the Bible were written around his teachings.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that happened when he died on the cross was he paid for our salvation. So our sins were paid for on the cross by Jesus Christ. So by our belief in Christ, our sins are paid for, and we have the salvation through him. And if you actually are saved, everybody gets weird about born again. If you're born again, the idea of that is that your old self dies, so that the person that I was before I knew Christ actually goes away, dies, and I become a new person in Christ. And now it's my responsibility to listen to the Holy Spirit, who was also part of what happened was, I mean, he's this part of the Trinity. When he died, one of the things he made sure of was that those who became believers in Christ would have the access to the Holy Spirit, who have the Holy Spirit in them. And I had a hard time understanding that for a long time. And I mean, it was like 30 some years ago. I was like 37 years or 38 years old when I became a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at first, you know, I knew I was a Christian and I knew I believed in everything and I had faith, but I didn't understand the Holy Spirit that much. So as time went on and I learned more and more, I started to realize when he was doing something in me, because there would be a feeling that I would have, and I go, oh, it just must be chilly in here, or something like that, you know, and it would actually be the Holy Spirit trying to move me, trying to you know, say, yeah, that was good, you know. He does it a lot of times when I'm listening to music. It's crazy. It's, you know, it's not even necessarily Christian music, but you know, or if I hear something or I think something that he wants me to understand that it's definitely true, then I'll feel him, you know. But that's when it was just a few years ago where I actually went from the point of having faith to knowing,
mm-hmm.
because of what the Holy Spirit was doing in me. I started to understand him and what he was trying to say to me and through me, and how I was supposed to how I was supposed to listen to him. you know, he's constantly there telling you what's right and wrong. You know, I mean, he tells all of us what's right and wrong. But what people don't understand is if you've got something, so let's say there's a voice talking to you, right? If that voice is saying something to you or directing you in a way, and you go to the Bible and it's not in there, that ain't the Holy Spirit. So there's a lot of there. You got to understand that the world is the earthly world is a place where we're paying the sins of what am I wrote it down, but anyway, when Adam and Eve, you know, ate the apple, then sin came into the world, and the world is actually the Satan controls the world more than God does. But it's up to those who are in the Lord to, you know, through our prayers and through our actions and through to fight against all the principalities, is what they're called. So I mean, it is a constant battle, you know, in that people don't, you know, they're going, well, yeah, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, bad things are going to happen to everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you have a belief, you know, you can ask the Holy Spirit to give you strength to get through it, or ask Him for guidance or whatever. Just because you're praying for somebody to get healed doesn't mean they will get healed. Sure. Now they might. It's up to God. Sometimes God does that. I've been around healings. I've seen them. I've actually had it happen to me. I had a part of my foot that used to absolutely kill me. They prayed over it. It doesn't hurt anymore. I mean, period. It just doesn't. And you know, lately I've had some other stuff that has gone well for me, and I know. I mean, people have been praying for me, so I feel good about that. That doesn't necessarily mean that it was an act of God, but you know what?
So do you believe it? Like, you know, the whole perception is reality thing, like the belief that, you know, being prayed upon and stuff will help, you know, as long as, you know, but like you said, not all prayers work. So like that's kind of like,
no, prayers work. They all work.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when.
Yeah,
it's God's choice.
Yeah.
He might not even do it while you're alive.
Yeah, sure. That's true. So kind of on like the whole history of the planet thing, because I believe in that, you know, it formed, you know, and then two closer planets hit and then formed the moon, and then the Earth, you know, evolved. So do you, I mean, I know with a lot of religious stuff, it's like, you know, it was 10,000 years older, a little bit older than that now. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, that's one of the ones that is discussed greatly in the community. I have close friends of mine, and my pastor included. They believe in the 7 days as 24 hours, 7 days. There's other people that believe in day ageism, they call it. So a day is an age. So the first, you know, billions of years it took for certain things to form, or millions of years that it took for things to form, I mean, that is an age or whatever. So there's more than one acceptable way of looking at it, in a sense that you can't let that get in the way of your belief. So if you're going to trust in Christ, you have to not let the little stuff bother you. You know, you can't. You know, it's not a matter of whether who's right or who's wrong. God's right. So God knows, and I'll know when I'm up there and I'm with Him. I'll know for sure.
Sure.
You know, and then I'll know whether or not there was that the man who wrote it, which was Moses, who wrote Genesis, with the way that he wrote it, if that's the way he understood it, even though he was inspired by God. Because all Scripture is inspired by God. So, yeah,
it's interpreted, right?
And so you got to understand that man wrote it. He physically wrote it. So when he wrote the word Yam, which is in Hebrew a 24-hour day, and that's what they used in Genesis. But did God really intend for him to? I'm not going to get into that, because I'm not going to have friends of mine that are going to hammer on me because I said no, that it's not a 24-hour day. To me, it's not important.
Yeah.
But for some people, if it keeps them from embracing God, then it is a problem.
Yeah.
But I think that what's important is to see there's a lot of religions,
Yeah.
and most of them, almost all of them are based on how well I can earn my way into heaven, by doing this and doing that. I can earn my way there. Well, that's not the way Christianity works. It's not a religion. It's a personal relationship with God. It's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. It's a personal relationship where you are actually, involved with Him, and that's the important thing. That's what Christianity is about. And then what happens is, so many people will see somebody that they know that claims to be a Christian do bad things, and they go, well, Christians are all messed up. Not all Christians are messed up.
Sure.
There are Christians that are. And there's been
absolutely.
a lot of like people that are in powerful positions that have been messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that this really gets people touchy, but you got to realize the Catholic religion is a religion, and they pray to. They don't pray to God. They pray to Mary. They pray to different, and they have idols. There's a lot of things about it, but that, I don't want to get myself in trouble with the Catholics. But the point is that there are Catholics that are going to get saved because they have a personal relationship with Christ, and that's the important thing. So
what if you're like, here, you go.
No, you're good.
Okay.
There's a lot of information coming around.
Yes, I mean, because I kind of teetered on being religious or not for a long time, because I believe in that. There is something that anyone can tap into that is going to help drive them forward, help them make the right decisions, use their intuition correctly. Like I feel like there's, it's like a constant energy in the universe, and I almost, part of me thinks that like early religions were all writing and praying about the same energy, like that everything is like connected, and all the different religions all pray to the same overall energy that kind of helps propel life. And there's good and bad. I totally believe in that as well. But for like, let's say like you're somebody good, you treat everybody well, like you almost live like a Christian, but you're not a Christian, then are you even considered for that to go to the pearly gates, or or because you don't have that relationship and I haven't repented or whatever? Is it no way that's happening? It's kind of, and okay, so I'm just gonna rant on this one point. Okay, so thinking about all this is okay, so the fact that we can sit here and talk and have a conversation, understand, repeat back, like all the things that are happening between our three brains. It's like billions of neurotransmissions and synapses all happening. It's like an orchestra of events just to have a conversation. And then you look at all the other lives that are on this planet. Like we're truly blessed to be as conscious as we are, and as aware as we are. And so like part of me almost feels like this is heaven or hell. Like life on Earth can either be heaven or hell for you. And so like to have an afterlife, I feel like it's almost like asking too much, because we're already given a lot here.
So you don't feel you deserve it.
No, I mean, in short terms, like I feel like what I have already in the astronomical sense of life and being a life, multi-cell creature, like humans have it really good, and I feel like almost just blessed to even be a human being.
Sure.
Well, think about it this way. This is really. It took me a while to get there on this one. So we use about 10% of our brain, right? Something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep, give or take. Yep.
So, anyway, so you say you take 10% of our brain. Now you take, and you have a brain the size of the Earth, right? How's that? And it's the entire thing is being used. That's God. That, he is able to, when he created this thing, he put this rock, which is the Earth, the exact amount of distance it needed to be from a sun, which is an exact amount of heat. He put 2 gas giants outside to protect us, so that we have this whole thing. He made the atmosphere just like it is. He created every one of our synapses, and he created all these different animals. I mean, one of the things about animals, the creation thing, is that there is nothing between this species and that species. It just doesn't exist. Galapagos Islands, that's just it's adapting. It's adaptation. That is not. It's a totally different thing. So, but there's not one species turning into another, or an ape becoming a man. It isn't.
So evolution's out, is what you're
evolution saying. Evolution it isn't real.
Okay.
It just isn't. There's no proof for it. There's a lot of speculation for it. There's a lot of people that say, well, it can't be any other way. Well, yeah, it can. You call it creation, and the whole idea of creation is the fact that we've got somebody that is omnipotent. I don't know if you can really truly understand what omnipotent means, and all powerful, truly all powerful. He can do anything he wants. If he wanted me to levitate off this seat, he could do that. But it's not something he feels the need to do, because he doesn't feel he needs to prove himself. He did that when he sent Jesus Christ here, but the point being that he did all this, and every time I'm out in the garden and I'm fighting the weeds, I go, thank you for putting that in front of me. I know that I have to deal with that, and it's all part of what you need me to do to make this look the way that you have in my mind it needs to look. So there's 2 things that I think that this is a bit of humor, is actually. I think that God gave Satan the right to create 3 animals. I think that one is all of the snakes.
I had a feeling you were going to say snakes. I've heard
the other one, maybe scorpions. Maybe I don't see what they need scorpions for. Who knows? But the main one is Japanese beetles.
Oh, Japanese beetles.
I think that's definitely...
those things are a real nuisance. We just put a Japanese beetle trap in my girlfriend's backyard.
Oh, is that what's killing all the trees?
I've never seen anything like it, Chris.
It's incredible.
There's 3,000 of these things in that bag. But
right.
They're wild.
Now, here's the thing to do on Japanese beetles. All right? Don't put up the traps. There's a stuff called milky spore.
Okay.
And you put it in. You put it on the grass, and it goes down into the grass, and it's poisonous to one thing: Japanese beetles. So a Japanese beetle eats it, dies, and then causes billions of these little guys to be released, and it spreads further.
Wow.
So, and then it lasts for years until they're totally gone, and then this milky spore dies out.
And it's called milky spore?
Milky spore.
Milky spore. I'll have to...
MILKY spore.
I'll have to keep that in mind, because like I said, we put that trap up, and it's been pretty alarming to see all of them gathering in there. But
yeah, but the thing what happens with the traps, it just attracts them to your yard.
Well, it makes sense because it's got that scent,
Yeah.
And they just all kind of
they work. I mean, we've got them up, but we're not going to put them up next year.
Really? I'm going to have to keep them in milky spore. But yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying, you made the comment that a lot of things that we say on the show, you can almost pull something from the Bible that relates to it. I think there's a lot, for me, I haven't practiced a lot of religion growing up. I mean, I did grow up around, my mother was brought up Roman Catholic. I was familiar with church. I've been around it, familiar with it. And I believe in a lot of the daily practices, being good to thy man, don't judge, extend a hand where you can. A lot of those values that I think that,
Sure.
We can all share. But I haven't really taken a lot of time to dive into Bible study and things like that. I know that's something you're passionate about. And no, it's exciting that you came down and filled us in on what you were thinking and got to talk about God a little bit, enlighten us on some of the Christianity beliefs.
So the fruits of the Spirit, which is what you're talking about, are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, can any of us use any of that?
I think we could use all of it.
Yeah, all of it.
And
Yeah.
aren't those wonderful?
That's terrific.
And then
Yeah.
the other thing that happens when you become a believer, he endows you with a spiritual gift.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of different spiritual gifts. Some are preaching, teaching. There's, mine is sharing, essentially.
Sure.
It's like or helpfulness. Those two are my fruits. If somebody needs help, I'm like, yeah, okay. What do you need?
Yeah. It goes a long way.
And then for when I give to the church, it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
It was yours. It was yours, so I'll give you my first 10%, whatever.
And I think you got the gift of gab, Chris. You don't want to leave that
I
one.
definitely got the gift of gab, but that is not one of the fruits of the Spirit. I had that before.
That's good.
Well, I mean, I think religion, has obviously it's played a huge role in human history.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Not all of it good, by
Yeah,
the way.
conflicts fought. All that sort of stuff. How lives saved and power. I'm not going to sit here and put anybody down for their belief system as long as it doesn't hurt other people.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's important to understand that not, like I don't agree with, like I believe in the evolution stuff and, that's, so there's not, you're not going to agree with everybody about everything, but you should always have respect.
Oh, yeah.
Because just because we think differently because the whole spirituality thing, like I'm very much into that. I think very strongly about like how I think, how I project, the type of words I use, how powerful is my sentence and trying to help others to make my life better, but giving not to receive, just giving to give. And cause I'm able,
Right.
there's a lot of things that I want to do to fulfill myself and make sure that I pay attention to my intuition. Like, the Holy Spirit speaking to me, like, I kind of look at my intuition like that. Cause I've done some bad things and I know it's bad when I'm doing it.
Sure.
And I've paid the price for doing the bad thing when I knew not to, and that whole time I was hearing, what the right thing was to do. The intuition was telling me.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I feel like everybody should have that in their life, like something that they can lean back on and because life can be uneasy sometimes and it's good to have some sort of foundation. It doesn't have to be the same foundation under every house, but as long as you got a foundation, then you could be a healthy house. That's kind of how I look at it,
I agree with that.
Well, when you have something that you do that is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sin. Anyway, point is if you feel as though you really want to repent and not do it again, then you should ask for repentance. So, it doesn't, whoever it is you're repenting to, because that's, you want to be forgiven for that and try to not do it again. That's the thing. People that continue to do the same sin, even if they're asking for repentance all the time, it's not,
Yeah.
it ain't taken.
Oh, yeah, you're just spinning your
it's
wheels.
like, it ain't working,
Yep.
So, that's my 2 cents on that. So
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's all good.
I think religion is huge. It plays a role in probably more than 50% of the households in the world. I'd like to say probably like
Well
over
over.
70%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. And so it's powerful to know that, like, even though I'm not a Christian or I'm not a Muslim or whatever it may be, to just have a respect for people and their own beliefs. Like, just because somebody believes something that you don't agree with doesn't mean that they need to think the way you think.
Sure.
It's like one of those things where you can still have respect for anybody as long as they're being, nice, they're not treating people wrong. And, so it's, I think it's all good. Even though I'm not a part of it, like, I'm not going to sit here and put religions down.
Right,
It's just, there's no place for that
No.
because what do I gain from, trying to put a religion down that's making somebody feel good? What do I gain from that?
Right.
Well,
I was an agnostic for 37 years. And then I met my wife, and she, after we were dating a little bit, she says, if we're going to date, you really ought to at least come to the church and, with me and at least try. I said, okay. So I didn't have a problem going. I'd gone to the Methodist church when I was a kid and everything. So I knew about it, but my brother convinced me that that I was, that there wasn't any, that it was all, so he convinced me agnosticism was the right way to be. At any rate, and I went with it. It's easy to be agnostic because I didn't have to worry about sin. Anyway, that being said, I was sitting there, and this is really funny. The first day I walked in there, I was asked by one of the guys at the front, somebody that I knew from the store. How about that? Mm-hmm. And he was actually the head usher. He says, "Hey, how you doing, Chris? Good to see you. Hey, listen, can you help us with the offering?" I go, "I'm not a member here or anything, and I'm not even a Christian." And he goes, "Oh, that's okay. We just need the help." I go, "Okay." Mm-hmm. So from that day forward, every time I went to the church, I would help with the. I mean, I did that for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. So I would always help, and except for the times when we would do a drama thing or something,
sure.
That I couldn't do both. But at any rate, I just thought it was funny because then several weeks later, I was sitting in the audience, listening to an excellent man by the name of Jim Dixon, who was the pastor. But anyway, he was talking, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and I'm going, "Chris, you really are an idiot." And that's when I embraced the Lord.
That's when it hit you, huh?
I was going, quit being an idiot, know?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you found it, Chris.
No, I am
and
too.
I'm glad it works for you. And I know you do your Bible study, and you get to share that with a lot of, with people around you. And I'm sure some of your church groups tuning in, and they're going to see you here on Discussion Combustion. And we certainly appreciate you coming down and chatting with us.
It was actually absolutely my pleasure.
Yeah. And I know you've been a long-time listener, first-time guest, and it's been fun because you probably remember more of the conversations that we've had than Arthur and I do. So when you bring up some of the points that things that we say might relate to biblical, I don't probably even remember saying half.
Well,
of them,
I mean, some of the stuff he was talking about are all they are. Yeah, I always thought I was a good guy, and then till I figured out that I really wasn't as great as I thought I was. It's
sure.
Like I was doing things that I didn't realize hurt other people.
Yeah.
And that's not good. So so it's better this way.
Well, we didn't know old Chris, but hey, new Chris is pretty nice. I think you're a nice guy, and always like chatting with you.
Oh yeah,
talk a little sports. You tune in the pod.
I was anticipating you coming on. I was getting anxious when we started recording this. Sometimes, like I had to retake.
You could feel Chris's energy.
I had to do a retake, because sometimes, like I get a little anxious getting into these conversations, and but I'm all leveled out now, and no, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure speaking with you. So I like to say, believe and achieve. Yeah, as my my little closer. What would your closer be?
What do you got
for the
us,
guests?
Chris? You got something for us.
May the grace of God be with you.
Perfect. I like it. May the grace of God be with you. Let her rip, Tater Chip. It's been fun, Chris, and I think it's important to remember that no matter what you believe, what side of the fence you stand on, it's important that everybody can still sit down, have a beer, have a water, whatever, and just chat. Mm-hmm. That's something that I think that a lot of people are getting disconnected from. Varyings of opinions, different beliefs. It's people become disassociated. I think it's important to be around people of different beliefs because you can learn, like we said, adapt, overcome, exchange ideas, bounce things off of each other. It's important to do that, even during a COVID time where people are locked in their houses. Don't lose touch with that because I constantly like to innovate and learn and talk with different people. And Chris, you've been a great guest. And
Enjoyed it.
And I'm going to see you back at work.
Oh yeah.
So thanks again for being here. Really appreciate you. And all the Discussion Combustion podcast listeners, you guys are the best. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Mm-hmm. Hit us up on all social media platforms. We always like to hear from you. Send us in, some would you rather, some of your thoughts. We got
a solid guest lineup coming.
Yep, good guest coming down the pipeline.
We're excited to be here, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel blessed and thankful. Like I think we were talking about this a couple episodes ago, but just to sit down and have conversations with gentlemen like you and all the other guests that we've had and will have. It's a great opportunity, to kind of get back to roots of just getting to know people and like Kevin said, people don't have to agree on everything, but you could still talk about it calmly.
I think so.
And you could agree to disagree. That's always a good ending point.
I'd like to see more of that.
If people are butting heads, so keep the work week strong, keep your mentality strong. Like, there's good and bad all around us, which we all know. Do your best to focus on the good, because it is present, and as long as it's within you, and whatever way you feel it, then your energy will speak to people. You could change the room walking into a room just by having the right energy, and I believe in that.
I do too, and I think Chris had the right energy walking in tonight, because he changed the energy. He got you a little rattled before the episode.
He did get me a little rattled up there at the beginning. I was nervous.
Yeah, that was
it's all good.
Good times, Chris. Much fun. Well, we hope to have you back on. Hey, you're going to be a repeat guest. Every guest that's been on is going to come back.
Yeah, we always got to see how you're doing, how you've been.
Maybe we'll have you on in the fall or the winter right after the Super Bowl. So, quick prediction: who's going to the Super Bowl? Who you got?
Oh, I have no idea with this thing.
I know.
It's just, it's
wild.
Anybody that doesn't have a bunch of injuries.
Yeah.
The Broncos have already got hit with a bunch of injuries. KJ Hamler's out. I mean, it's like, really? And they even had a really good cornerback that Ojemudia that they drafted that was looking like he's had a chance to start. He's out for the year. I mean, it's just like they've got like 8 guys with soft tissue injuries. It's just ridiculous. So, I don't know.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I hate seeing Broncos go down, of course.
Well, of course. Same with my New England Patriots. As much as I want to say they're going to be in it, I feel
Broncos, Buccaneers.
Buccaneers are probably going to go, my Tom Brady and Gronk, whatever. But I think Kansas City repeats.
Whatever.
I do think Kansas City repeats.
KC came so strong last year.
That if Kansas City doesn't have a bunch of injuries, they're it.
They're hot.
Mahomes is too.
The other
too
one
agile.
is it the Ravens that has that quarterback?
Oh
no, who has the quarterback that's so good? He was the MVP last year. Or something, but it was.
Yeah, it was.
They
Baltimore.
lost.
It was Baltimore. They were 13-2, 13-3 going into
Baltimore.
the playoffs. It was Baltimore. God, what is his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. I know you're talking about. He's going to be a stud. Yeah, Baltimore might be in the hunt. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know. Football is going to be interesting. We haven't had no preseason to go off of. A lot of people are opting out for COVID. So, as much as I want to say my Pats do it, I think KC repeats.
And I don't think that Roethlisberger is going to be as good as some people think he's going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I just don't see it.
I agree with you there. Let's hope for a good football season, and let's keep this thing rolling.
All my Pittsburgh friends are going to go,
"You said what?"
You got to get them
better
riled
listen
up.
to the whole episode then.
You got to get them riled up. It's part of the fun. So,
well, I just think those people should just stop acting that way. That's what they should do. They should just stop being, just stop it.
Enough of that.
And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Chris, thanks again for being here, man. We appreciate you. Thanks, you guys, tuning in. We got Brant Tobler in the studio next week. You guys have seen him on Comedy Central. You've seen him on podcasts. He's sitting down with us next week, so tune in for episode 65. Once again, Chris, our pleasure.
Thank you for coming in, man.
Arthur, Kevin, my pleasure.
We'll talk to you guys soon. Y'all be good to yourselves. You deserve it.